So, who could be the breakout quarterbacks for fantasy this year? Which running backs could become duds? And what wide receivers could be some sleepers that we should keep our eye on this year? Well, we're going to try to find the answers to those questions and a lot more as we continue our preseason coverage. Well, we try to cover everything we can in fantasy football because this is what this show is all about. But here's time for another edition of Fantasy Football Fever starting right now. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Saturday night, August 16th, 2025. Wherever, whenever, and however you're watching, thanks for making us part of your week. I, of course, am Tim McClellan. And, of course, I'm joined, as always, by my buddies in crime right here. First of all, the host of Hooked on Sports, John Flynn, and our league commissioner right here, Mr. John Natali. What's up, guys?
Yeah, doing great. Yeah, we're
I'm doing great.
Less than 2 weeks away.
I mean,
I'm getting excited.
it's for our fantasy draft, and it's crazy. It's only a couple of weeks away, and we still have a few more episodes before we officially draft our team. So again, you can see right down below that we'll be having our live draft August 29th. The pre-show will begin. Coverage will begin at 9:15 p.m. Eastern, and then the draft will officially kick off at 9:30. So that you definitely want to circle your viewing calendar for that. So I'm definitely excited for that. So.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited as well. So yeah, we're just 19 days away from the opening night of the season, which of course will feature the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning, defending, undisputed champions, starting the season at home against my Dallas Cowboys, which I think is a great matchup. But in my honest opinion, I would have wanted this matchup to wait for about maybe 5 or 6 weeks into the season.
Mhm.
Maybe put Philadelphia either against Washington or New York, because usually the first week is basically divisional games. So, but I digress. It'll still be a great game. But anyway, we got a lot to cover right here. We're going to be talking about sleepers, duds, and breakouts for fantasy this year. We're going to go over those in just a little bit, but right now, we do have a bunch of hot topics to deal with over the course of the last 7 days or 8 days since we last convened here on this particular show. The one story that really stuck out to me today is it looks like the Buffalo Bills and their running back James Cook have agreed to a 4-year, $48 million extension with a $30 million guaranteed. So at least Flynn, they have that monkey off their back.
It's part of a string of players that Brandon Bean has extended over the course of the last couple of seasons. So Josh Allen is definitely on that list because of course their MVP quarterback got a lot of money this offseason. James Cook. Is certainly one that's up there with the extension. So it's been hot and heavy for that. Also, in addition, This offseason alone, they extended Christian Benford, Gregory Rousseau, linebacker Terrell Bernard, and wide receiver Khalil Shakir. We'll get into his expectations with the upcoming season in just a little bit. So. But James Cook had a terrific season last year. He had 18 total touchdowns, 16 of them rushing touchdowns, and he was as critical. Other than Josh Allen, he was as critical to the Bills' success as anybody on the road to the AFC Championship game last year. So it was important for them to focus on that, get a distraction out of the way, and now the Buffalo Bills can go into a season where the season I don't think will be a success for them if they don't go to the Super Bowl and win it. So a lot to prep for this upcoming for the Bills as for their Week 1 Sunday night game against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
That is going to be another huge dandy right there, aside from the Eagles and Cowboys on the opening night. There's been a lot of questions this week. Could this be the year that Josh Allen will finally get to the top of Mount St. Mahomes?
I mean it's very hard to equate that because Allen has faced Mahomes 9 times throughout his career, and Allen has won 4 of the 9 matchups, but they all occurred during the regular season, and Josh Allen is 0-4 against Mahomes in the playoffs, including last year in the AFC Championship game. And then the following year, the one home game that Josh Allen played against Mahomes, they lost. So which does lead us into our first fantasy question of the season, guys.
Well, how about that?
So would you keep Josh Allen or Derrick Henry in a keeper draft?
Ooh.
Wow, you're talking about 2 different players, 2 different positions, and they're both very adept at those positions.
In a perfect world, I would say both, but you can't. But but from a point perspective, you're probably better off keeping Josh Allen because for point purposes.
I mean, also think about what the quarterbacks are. I mean, Josh Allen is. He is right there in the height of his powers, right in the prime of his career, and Allen, he's got some staying power because of what he has. He just signed that mega contract extension, so. So as much as I love Derrick Henry, and as much as Derrick Henry has helped me so much in fantasy, when I'm an owner of him in fantasy, you can't not keep Josh Allen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, he can run the ball a good bit. I mean, I've known not as much as Derrick Henry, but a dual threat quarterback is a good keeper in my opinion. So I would have to agree with the guys that I go and pick with Allen. Yeah, you guys. Hey, we haven't done this in a while. We haven't taken any questions yet, but if you have any, we'll see if we can answer them the best we can. Thanks. It says thanks for the feedback. Well, thank you, Kyle. And hey, spread the word about this show. Please spread the word.
And during the season, we do our show once a week, and it's on Tuesdays because Tim has a different podcast schedule. And I have a different podcast schedule on my own. I'm actually changing up my NFL's podcast schedule this year, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. But so we have shows. I think next Friday is episode, and then we're going to probably do 2 the last week of August because I think one where we're going to lock in our playoff teams and all that such. And then, of course, the end of the week is the big fantasy, the big live draft with all the raw emotion and reaction to that. So it should be exciting times for this. So let's keep the mojo going and spread the word about us. It's going to be all sorts of fun. And it's also simulcast on Tim's channel, and it's also on my channel. So with two YouTube channels that this podcast is simulcast on. So,
as I always say, this is a joint venture, and what a great venture it is. Anyway, once again, Kyle, thank you very much. Keep spreading the word for us, buddy. Back to the hot topics here. Looks like earlier, a couple days ago, I think Travis Hunter had an upper body injury, according to one of the trainers, one of the assistant coaches. It looks like he will be doubtful for the Jaguars preseason game tomorrow against New Orleans Saints. So, is this a big deal, little deal, no deal at all?
I mean, what do you, I think Natalia was thinking of talking about Travis Hunter tonight. So like, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, and I actually didn't hear about the injury until you brought it up, but right now I don't see it as a big deal. Usually the preseason is kind of like a workout, if anything. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I don't want to make too much of it right now.
I mean, Travis Hunter is one of the most talented guys to ever come out of college and be in the draft because he's a two-way player and it's something that the NFL hasn't seen in a long time. Where because of the roster tabulations that you had to have guys play both on offense and defense and Travis Hunter can't do that. He because he could be like the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL because he could play wide receiver and corner. But I just have a hard time just have a hard time believing that the Hunter is going to be able to keep up with the speed of the game in the NFL. That it takes rookies so long to get accustomed to how the NFL is different from college. But if it looks like Travis Hunter is currently in line to play more receiver than he is at corner and remember, Liam Cohen takes over as the coach. So could this be an opportunity for him to try and get and try and get Hunter involved in an offense that already includes Brian Thomas Jr. I think that's remains to be seen. I mean, you cannot underestimate Liam Cohen's offensive mind abilities. So.
Right. So, we'll keep tabs on Travis Hunter as next couple of weeks go by. Matthew Stafford still has kind of an aggravated disc in his back, but he did work out earlier today. Let's see if I can find some more information here. He said workout Saturday, similar to what he did before sitting out the preseason opener last week. So his status would be questionable. So let's see here. They had a game earlier today.
So I think they played a preseason game today against the Chargers at SoFi Stadium.
Oh yeah, they play against the Chargers at SoFi. The Rams just nipped the Chargers by a score of 23-22 in that one. So they'll be going to Cleveland to wrap up their preseason next Saturday night. But
and Stetson Bennett took over as the was the starter for the Rams in the game today. Of course, Stetson Bennett was the quarterback for the University of Georgia's 2022 championship team. Who won the national championship at SoFi Stadium. So that's like a circle. A circle coming in moment, but I do want to think about the Rams for a little bit because I believe that there's like such a huge upside for the Rams this year. But I think the thing about Stafford is that because Stafford, okay, because think about the level of play he had in that game in the divisional round against the Eagles. So he played a sensational game until the end where Vic Fangio dialed up the perfect blitz at the right time in that. So I mean, I think that the Rams definitely have an upside to go to the Super Bowl because I think if Stafford is playing at a high level, they can be anybody with McVay bringing in Devontae Adams in the offseason was a genius move by Les Snead, and that team if they reach their peak can compete with a team like the Eagles.
Yeah, I can see the Rams having another successful season, or just keep an eye out for the health of Matthew Stafford. Even though Stetson Bennett's doing a pretty good job, he'll pretty much lock up the QB2. We do have a season-ending injury right here. Well, it looks like Miami Dolphins running back Alexander Madison underwent season-ending neck surgery this past Sunday in Chicago. It was tackled on a 24-yard pass play in last Sunday's preseason game against the Bears, taken to an ambulance where the surgery took place. So, unfortunately, Alexander Madison is out for the season with the Dolphins. And, wow, I know our buddy Alex Putnam is just kind of seething right now. But, I mean, with things going wrong in Miami, I mean, what? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with these guys.
You have to brace for the possibility that everybody gets fired in Miami. The GM, Chris Greer. Crazy that Chris Greer holds a job. I think there is a possibility, a real shot of the Dolphins being the second worst team in the AFC this year. I'm not joking about that because if you look at all of the injuries and all that such for the Dolphins, and that includes includes Alex Madison, who is no longer in there. That so it's Artie Burns is also done. So Hermaine Ifedi, an offensive tackle, is out. So so the Dolphins are already decimated by injuries, and a lot of this was preventable with if they actually fired Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel and actually started a needed massive rebuild there. So I'm not high on the Dolphins at all, unfortunately, for this upcoming season.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would have to agree with that here, even though they do have Devon Achan and Jalen Wright backing him up. But it's going to take a miracle to get the Dolphins to where they really need to go this year, if they can at least make it to the playoffs. I mean, if they can just make it to the playoffs, that'd be one thing. But I mean, with everything that is going on there, it sounds more like
playoffs?
This here.
Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
I mean, what is that according to Stephen Ross?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I just don't get what's going on down there. But I mean, if they miss the playoffs, they got to fire Greer and they got to fire McDaniel. They got to fire them both. Let them go. And we have a story that kind of drew the ire of one John Flynn during our pre-show meeting. It looks like our Kansas City wideout Rasheed Rice is expecting to have his disciplinary hearing with the NFL on September 30th in New York. So that means that this guy is pretty much eligible to play for the first 4 weeks of the Chiefs season, which starts in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil, against the Chargers. Then they have the Eagles, the Giants, and the Ravens. Then he has his hearing where he could most likely get his suspension. Now, Glenn brought up an interesting point. Isn't there a player in Minnesota who's kind of in the same situation where She Rice has? And that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Jordan Addison, the Vikings wide receiver, was suspended three games because of a it's because he was suspended for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. While in the case of Rashee Rice, this stems back to Chargers from 2024 about a car crash in Dallas, and he wound up only playing 4 games last year because of injuries. But back in July there was a plea deal for two third-degree felonies regarding the car crash. But he's going to have this disciplinary hearing on 30th. So definitely, it feels similar, but yeah, this makes the Chiefs a more formidable team for the first few weeks, because now that they have Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce all available for the first month of the season.
Yeah, that's
and I think it's gonna be the tricky. But look, Rashee Rice is gonna be one of the trickiest players to predict because of the disciplinary issues. But like with Rashee Rice's upside, if you remember from 2023 when he became the number one receiver for the Chiefs, so that he was one of the 15 to 20 best wide receivers in the NFL the second half of the 2023 season, and his contributions played a subtle but important role for the Chiefs as they got to the playoffs and went on another Super Bowl run. So there's a huge upside, but a lot of it comes with a huge risk.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely agree with you on that one. Let's see here. I've covered the Rams. I've covered the staff thing. Any other issues that I may have overlooked?
Let's see. I'm on the NFL.com now. I'm seeing something. Let's say the wide receiver for the Chargers, Johnson, suffers concussion, taken to the hospital as a precaution. He's got a concussion, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and as for the Ravens, Isaiah likely remains out with a foot injury, and he is pretty much questionable for week 1. Of course, Isaiah likely trying to work his way back into a primary rotation with Mark Andrews, but if he remains out with a foot injury, that's going to be a problematic for his fantasy value. And then speaking of injuries, Cam Scatterbo is dealing with a hamstring issue, according to ESPN's Jordan Rannon, and there is a real possibility that he will not be active for the season opener against Washington.
Ooh.
So, and speaking of the Giants, man, how about Jackson Dart, man? Yeah, he had not made his preseason debut yet the last time we were on this podcast. But he's had 2 outstanding performances so far. One against the Bills, where he 12 of 19 for 154 yards and a tutty, and then just tonight against the Jets, he was outstanding. 14 of 16, a touchdown, a rushing touchdown. he was connecting on screen routes. He was threading the needle with the defense. He was fabulous. So
Oh yeah.
so I think if you have a spot in dynasty in the dynasty league, where you're trying to build for the future, I think Jackson Dart is a great building block for that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, just keep an eye on the future right there for New York. I was asking Flynn before the show. Most likely they'll probably be starting Russell Wilson, but keep a tight grip on Jackson Dart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are some Giants fans that I was looking on X before tonight's show, and some of them are starting to want Jackson Dart to start week 1, and as much as I already love Jackson Dart, and Dart's probably gonna wind up being my favorite player going on my favorite team going into next season. I just think it's the temptation is too big, and I think they gotta and Brian Dable's got to keep those temptations at bay and start Russ because remember, the Giants opened the season against Washington, Dallas, Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, and then the Week 4 game against the Chargers, and like Dan Quinn, Matt Eberflus, Steve Spagnuolo, 3 brilliant defensive minds. So they're going to show 3 different, a lot of different exotic looks, and he's going to have to be on the sidelines really to decipher how how it is, and with Russ's experience, I think it's gonna it's gonna be bad. So I would put Jack. I feel like Jackson Dart's is done with preseason action. Put him in bubble wrap and let him learn from a future Hall of Fame quarterback. I believe he will be a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Russell Wilson.
Definitely here. I just want before we move on, I want to give a big shout out to my former Texas Longhorn quarterback Quinn Ewers for the Dolphins earlier tonight. He went 11-17 for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Dolphins 24-17 win over the Lions earlier. So good luck, Quinn. Welcome Horns.
I mean that feels like such a shocking result. Based on like how one-sided the joint practices were between the two teams over the last couple of days. So let's see what we'll have to see what Quinn Ewers is, but I have my doubts about Quinn Ewers particularly. So when with all the discussion with the quarterback battle between him and Arch Manning,
right?
And now Arch Manning is going to be the full-time starter for Texas, and it's going to start with a bang in 2 weeks when they take on the defending champs, Ohio State, in the shoe.
2 weeks from tonight. Oh, I cannot wait.
It's a the sad part is that Ohio State's 3 biggest games against Texas, Penn State, and Michigan. They're all big noon kickoff games. So it's going to be that. So they'll be leading off everything. So
all right, that's going to be interesting there. So so are we ready to move on to the meat of our show?
I see one other thing that might be. I think we're very. Looks like we're going to be very close to finding out who the Colts will name as the Week 1 starter. Says the coach is very close to his decision.
All right.
Everyone's in limbo of who it's going to be. I wonder who it's going to be. I'm getting kind of curious to find out.
Yeah, I mean, so when do the Colts play preseason game tomorrow?
Let me check. Let's see.
No, actually, they played today and they lost.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see about that. But so the question for you guys is bringing up which quarterback gives the Colts the best chance to win in week 1 against the Dolphins.
That's a very, very tough one, but I'm leaning towards Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones giving his team the best chance to win. It feels like 2019 all over again.
I'm personally leaning towards him because got to go with the experience. He's been around longer. He knows the team better.
And also it's like Daniel Jones is finally more than a year and a half removed from the ACL injury. So I think that's that's a big plus.
Yeah, that would be a big plus right there. Since of course, Anthony Richardson is still kind of on the list. I don't know if he's questionable or doubtful for week 1, so have to keep an eye on that here. So we'll just see what happens. So, excuse me. So, anyway, since there's a lot of y'all out there who's going to be having fantasy drafts coming up in the next couple of weeks. Of course, ours is going to be on the 29th. And we kind of have made some lists for you. Each of us have picked some breakouts, some duds, and some sleepers to kind of go with going into your fantasy draft, going into the 2025 season.
Yep.
So,
So I asked Tim and Natalie to each give me two sleeper a sleeper pick, a bust pick, and a breakout pick. Two candidates for each position for each type of category. So quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. Times 2. And for 3 different categories, so this means that 24 players that will be analyzing each tonight. So why don't we start with mine? So on my original list of quarterbacks, I had a quarterback that both Tim and Natalie both had. So you'll figure that out. But for the time being, I picked a couple of sleeper picks for that, and for that, I'm going to look to a couple of NFC South quarterbacks for this one. I'm going to go with Michael Penix Jr. from the Atlanta Falcons and Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers, and both of these teams are in a very in a relatively uncompetitive division in the NFC South, and so both the quarterbacks that were taken high in the draft, and both quarterbacks had really strong finishes to their seasons last year, and Michael Penix Jr. has been talking up in connections with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. We'll see how that transpires. And then Bryce Young had a really strong second half of last season, and the Panthers added Tetsuya McMillan to be their receiver, and the connection that he and the two of them have had has been really good. Of what we've been seeing out of Panthers training camp, so you have to be excited, be cautiously optimistic about the Panthers. And the Panthers right now are currently one of 5 teams that I predict are going to win more games than people anticipate, that I'm higher on than others. The others being the Giants, the Jets, the Titans, and the Raiders. So, and I think Bryce Young is going to finish higher than what his current ranking is on FantasyPros.com. At 22. So again, so if you look at the graphics, so the POS means his position rank according to Fantasy Pros. His overall ranking, and then ADP. What do you think that stands for? Average draft position. So the last 2 numbers are going to be pretty for everyone's going to be pretty close to each other. So with all that, so I think Bryce Young is by It's underrated on that. Um, do you hear me?
You're going in.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
going in and out a little bit, but you're still okay.
yeah, you're good.
Okay. All right. So then running backs, Braylon Allen, he's shown a lot of speed in training camp, and the running back rotation has been interesting to say the least, because in the Jets preseason game against the Giants tonight, Braylon Allen had 5 carries while Breece Hall had 7 carries. So could Braylon Allen be eating into Breece Hall's production a little bit? So that's that's going to be a question that we'll be finding out or soon. And then Jordan Mason, the running back for the Minnesota Vikings. I could see Jordan Mason being the number one, being the lead back for the Vikings by the end of the season, because Aaron Jones is beginning to decline a little bit, because he's getting there. He's getting there in age. And the Vikings just traded with the 49ers this offseason for Jordan Mason. So I could see how Jordan Mason finishes in the top 32 when it's all said and done at the running back position. So I wouldn't. I mean, I personally would wait until round 8 or 9 to draft him if he's available. But it feels like a good value pick at that point. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver, San Francisco 49ers, and Luther Burden of the Bears are a couple of my picks for sleeper wide receivers, because Luther Burden kind of has a profile a little profile similar to that of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So what receivers are the Bears going to utilize? Because they have some talented receivers that are at their disposal, like Romo Dunze, who they drafted last year in the in the first round. Luther Burden, a fourth round pick this past year, and then of course T.J. Moore, and then a tight end Colston Loveland, who is their first round pick this year. So the Bears certainly have some weapons there. So it's not and I was the only one that listed Luther Burden on his wide receiver picks list when we did that list last month. So I'm not sleeping on him, nor am I sleeping on Ricky Pearsall. It's because the 49ers have a lot of injuries, injuries with their receivers, and it's definitely a carousel there. So I think Pearsall could be a target hog. And he's right now going in the middle of the 8th round in 12-team league. So if he's there in round 8, he's definitely a good candidate to overachieve. And then the tight ends, I think Brenton Strange had a decent season last year, and now that Evan Ingram is off the board in Jacksonville, he's going to take over as the primary tight end, and Liam Cohen loved utilizing tight ends during his year in Tampa last year. So I think Brenton Strange is going to be better than the projections you see here. And I'm also not ruling out Tyler Warren at all. I thought I ranked Tyler Warren ahead of Colston Loveland in the draft. I thought he was going to go before Loveland, but he fell right to the Indianapolis Colts with the 14th pick. And with the quarterback battle in Indianapolis, I think they're going to rely on Tyler Warren for receiving production. So I'm not sleeping on Tyler Warren at all. And he's going in round 10 rounds 10 through 12 in most formats. Now, what about my bust picks? So these are candidates that I think are going to perform worse than what their expectations are. So I'm gonna go with Jared Goff and Justin Herbert for my quarterbacks. Jared Goff, I think he's gonna take a step back because remember, the Lions lost Ben Johnson, and I think the Lions as a team are gonna take a step back because they had to replace both of their two coordinators on offense and defense. So I think Jared Goff is gonna take a step back. And also remember, the Lions lost. I think they lost center Frank Ragnow to retirement. So that's something to keep in mind for the Lions. And then Justin Herbert for the Chargers. I think losing their left tackle, and then Vlad McConkey's situation, Najee Harris' situation. Although Najee Harris still is not seen, but he is working to the side and might get some practice time in. Running backs, Kyren Williams and David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery had double-digit touchdowns each of the last 2 seasons. I do not believe that's going to happen again this year. I believe he's going to finish outside of the top 25 of running backs. And then Kyren Williams, I feel like this is still like a Stafford team, and I think it's and I just don't believe that Williams is going to have as many touchdowns as he did previously. Now, wide receivers, DK Metcalf, I think is an easy one for me because Metcalf is coming over from Seattle, and he's thrust right into an Arthur Smith offense, which emphasizes running the ball. So and Aaron Rodgers is as conservative played as conservative as it gets the last a few years. So I wonder how much they're going to let Rodgers throw the ball. So I think Metcalf's going to take a step back. Same thing too with Zay Flowers. I mean, not saying Zay Flowers is a bad receiver. He's still a good receiver, but I think the Ravens are going to double down on the running game, which was historically good last year. Do I think Zay Flower and right now his overall ranking on fantasypros.com is 54, which means that he's going in rounds 5 or 6. Do I believe he's worth a 5th or 6th round pick right now in drafts? I'm not a believer in that. So maybe if you can snag him if he's like one that hasn't been drafted yet, like round 7 or 8. Like pick 70. I mean sure, go ahead. You got some good value for your pick. So I would not so that, but I would not draft Zay Flowers at his current position though. As the 26th best wide receiver according to Fantasy Pros for this year. Then on to tight ends. I just think it's hard for me to draft Tucker Kraft this year. And then Mark Andrews, I believe he's going to take a bit of a step back. And even when Mark Andrews was playing most of the time last year, he was not getting the high level production that he was accustomed to having. So I think those 2 tight ends are going to take a bit of a step back. And now my breakout picks. So I'm obsessed with Drake May. He's having a great preseason, and now he has actual coaches that'll coach him up. I think he's gonna have a wonderful season. And then I kind of believe in JJ McCarthy this year as well. I think McCarthy that has looked really solid so far in the preseason, and now having an offensive seeing how the NFL is from the sideline last year. Now he can go in and replace Sam Darnold. I think he's going to have a good season where the Vikings go to the playoffs. Running backs, RJ Harvey. I think that RJ Harvey is someone that's tailor made for a Sean Payton offense, and RJ Harvey is really good at catching the football, and similar to what Sean Payton had in New Orleans with Reggie Bush and Alvin Kamara. RJ Harvey fits the bill, I think, pretty well. And then Jaden Blue for the Cowboys is a breakout running back pick for me because he's been solid, I think, from what I've been seeing. And when it comes to figuring out running back handcuffs, eventually the one with the more speed is going to prevail at the end. So I believe by the end of the season, Jaden Blue is going to be the lead back in Dallas. Wide receivers, I'm actually so this was a tough one because I do think Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman are really good, but I'm gonna go with Keon Coleman here. I think um I think yeah, I really like how he's been going along, and the thing is, if Khalil Shakir can't go, he's your number one receiver in an offense that features Josh Allen. So I really love love the value there, and I could see Keon Coleman by the end of the season being a top 40, top 30 receiver, and someone that you put in the flex. And then I also love Tetsuroa McMillan. I could see Tet McMillan getting 130 targets by the end of the season. I think that's how much he's gonna play a role into Dave Canales' offense. So I would be excited if I were if I drafted Tet McMillan, especially if you can get him in like round 5. And then tight ends. I think this is a very I went very deep into the pool for this one, and I pulled out Jatavion Sanders for the Panthers. I think he's gonna have a better season. And yeah, I think Sanders is going to have a better season than what's being said. And then Evan Ingram, I think he's going to wind up being being a top 7, top 6 tight end by the end of the season because that's because of what Sean Payton has had in the past with tight ends such as Jimmy Graham. And Bo Nix loves throwing to those tight ends. So I think with that, I think it's a great it's a great area to lean on. Now, in terms of tight ends, though, there are some really good value tight ends that are probably going to be available in rounds 8, 9, or 10 of drafts. So you could definitely have a strategy this year where it would be nice to have a tight end, but if you don't get the tier 1 tight ends like Kittle and Bowers and Trey McBride. Instead of that, you can definitely wait on that, and then you can focus building up some depth in your running back and wide receiver rooms.
Well, there are some very, very interesting lists there for his sleepers, his busts, and his breakouts here. Tell you what, I guess we could go to let's see here. Evan Ingram. Now, Evan Ingram, I could see that. Keon Coleman for the Bills. And JJ McCarthy, I'll agree with you on there. I mean, he's already he got a year to learn last year since he was injured in preseason last year, so he got to sit and watch everything. So I think he's learned up a little bit here. Drake May, I think I had a pretty good year for the Patriots. Patriots going to do a little bit better than what a lot of people may think that they may finish here, but yeah, very interesting there. So I guess we can go to Natalie's 3 lists here.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna start with your sleepers.
Sure. Let's see. Yeah, starting with Bo Nix. He had a very impressive rookie season last season, despite the Denver missing the playoffs. But this season they look a lot better. I think they could be a very interesting candidate to make the postseason this time around.
Yeah, the Broncos made the playoffs last year.
Oh, they did. Oops.
Yeah, they were the 7th seed. But they lost by a lot to the Bills.
Oh yeah, true. And then, basically the Patriots I'm going to treat the same way. Yeah, I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. And as it stands right now, I do have the Patriots making the playoffs in the final position, the 7th seed. Yeah, Drake May is a good quarterback to take in the later rounds for if you need a bench piece, or if you're someone who likes to really wait it out and build up on wide receivers, like running backs. Like say hypothetically, you don't take your quarterback until like round 10 or 11. He's the perfect slot there, and he could be a dark horse QB1 maybe if he plays very well. Let's see. On my running backs, I'm taking Omari and Hampton with the Najee Harris situation is very sketchy right now. So I could definitely see Omari and Hampton being the lead back here. And yeah, I think he might be an interesting candidate for offensive rookie of the year if he plays very well. Yeah, Cam Scatterboo, I believe his name was I think I had his name on the list prior to his injury. So we'll have to see how this goes. But yeah, Scatterboo, he has that combo of like the Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs thing. I brought that up before. Yeah, he'll be a very interesting choice if Tracy doesn't do well. He could easily step in, but he has to get past his injury first. If he does, he's going to be a very intriguing ad, whether it's a waiver claim or like a final pick, that type of thing. Wide receivers. Yeah, I had to do it. I got to take Travis Hunter. This is something you don't see every day at all. A guy who can play 2 positions. It just depends on who's utilizing more. If your league can count, if you're in a league that has defensive players like ours does, I would definitely snag him because both stats will count. If you put him in the wide receiver slot, I think the defensive stats will count as well. So yeah, if you're in need of a wide receiver and a defensive player, grab him. He's a 2-in-1. He covers 2 positions for you already. And then I'm going to take Romo Tuesday as my other one. Although he didn't really have the too great of a season last time around, this time I think he's going to do a lot better. The Bears are a dark horse team. I would not be surprised if they make the postseason. They look pretty good. I mean, as it stands right now, I'm considering putting them in the playoffs. And then my tight ends. Yeah, I'm a firm believer of the rookies. I got to give Colston Loveland some love here. So yeah, I think he could easily take some targets away from Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet wasn't particularly great last season, but I think Loveland is going to do just fine. And yeah, Tyler Warren going to treat him the same way. I'm a firm believer of the rookies now. If you can get if you're someone who waits it out on the tight end, don't worry about it. These guys are going to be just fine. I mean, I could definitely see people taking Brock Bowers or what's his name, Trey McBride. I wouldn't be surprised if someone takes them in round 2. So don't worry about it if Kittle and like Keith Hawkinson and all those names get taken already. You got Loveland and Warren. They'll be just fine for you. And yeah, those are my sleepers.
All right, so you want to go on to your bust picks now?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, and here my first bust is going to be Trevor Lawrence. He's just not that same quarterback anymore. But if he wants to get out of that, he's got to connect with his receivers better. I mean, I think he'll make somewhat of an impact with Travis Hunter, but it's not really going to help that much. He's been having trouble lately interacting with his receivers. And on here, this one was a tough one, but I'm actually going to say C.J. Stroud. I mean, the Texans don't really pass the smell test for me for some reason. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're still going to win the division, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be one of those divisions where the division winner finishes barely over 500 or right under 500. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised here if the Texans finish 9-8 and win the division. And on here, I'm going with Joe Mixon as a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his injuries are very concerning, and he's just not that same player anymore.
Yeah, we talked about that in the hot topics with Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And my bust is going to be Brees Hall, simply because you have Braylon Allen as your sleeper, so he's definitely gonna. I think he's gonna take some targets away from Brees this time around, like as you said earlier. Braylon Allen is really coming around. I think he's the youngest running back. I think either last season or the season before, he was the youngest running back I think to ever be drafted or something.
And I think he's like the youngest running back to ever score a touchdown. I think.
Yes. And then on here, this might be a little bit premature, but I have Tyreek Hill as a bust for now. He did awful last season. He wasn't there for some reason. Something was going on in his mind. I don't know what happened. And the Dolphins, I think they're pretty much a dumpster fire now. They're probably going to finish in last place. And Mike McDowell's probably on the hot seat. So we'll see. And then Terry McLaurin is my other bust. He's not scary Terry anymore. I think the Commanders are going to be exposed this season. I could see them potentially missing the playoffs here. And then in my tight ends, we both agree on Mark Andrews. Yeah, his injuries are catching up to him, and he's just not that same player anymore. And my other one is going to be Travis Kelce. Yeah, he's getting up there in age also. The wide receivers in Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy, they're going to take targets away from him. And Noah Gray is a great backup, and I think he's going to take targets away from him also.
I kind of agree with your selection with Kelsey as a bust here. Besides, I think he's getting a little too swift.
Yes. And then, before we go into Tim's picks, do you guys have any trivias for today? I mean, I have one, but it's very, very basic.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I think he has. We got to go through his breakouts.
My fault.
Yeah. We'll unveil our questions after we analyze your breakout picks.
Got it. Yeah, and on here my first breakout pick is going to be Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. Yeah, this guy had a pretty impressive rookie season last time around, and yeah, he's gonna look to rebound and do even better. I'm kind of treating it the same way I picked my other Bears player earlier. I think that the Bears are due for a rebound season, and yeah, they're one of my dark horse picks to potentially make the playoffs. And here, JJ McCarthy, he's finally going to make his rookie debut, and I think he's going to be very impressive. He's going to be probably in the top 5 for candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let's see. Starting with my running backs, Chase Brown. Ever since he took over as the lead back, he's been very impressive, and he's definitely gonna do it again. Let's see. Chuba Hubbard. I really like what the Panthers are doing with their backfield here. Yeah, that guy that they drafted, what's his name, Stewart or something, or he just has been having bad luck with injuries. This is his second time now he's going to miss the entire season. This puts Chuba Hubbard in line for a lot of work. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns. He's going to get a bunch of goal line work. And I think he's going to finish in the top 5 this season in rushing touchdowns and rushing yards. Let's see. Going with my wide receivers, I'm taking a guy that no one really talks about that much, Rashid Shaheed. He's perfect for your bench if you need somebody to cover the bye week. He's a good round 14, like round 15 type pick there. And basically they have basically nothing on the wide receiving side. Olave's not that same player anymore with his injuries, and you can only throw the ball to Kamara so many times. So this guy is actually the perfect fit. He's your clear wide receiver, I think, 2 right now, even wide receiver 1 maybe, if Olave's health doesn't improve.
Yeah, so Rashid Shaheed's average draft position. So according to our fantasy pros and the consensus is 154, which puts him in the in the 13th in round 13 of 12-team leagues.
Ooh.
So like if you're in a 16 team if you're in a 12 team league and you have 16 players with 9 starters and 7 on the bench, this would be one of your last picks before you go before you draft your defense and your kickers.
Right.
And then my other guy is going to be Ricky Pearsall. He's definitely due, considering, especially Brandon Ayuk is still going to be out. He's not going to be here until week 6 at the earliest, and even then, it's going to take him time to get into form. So you probably won't see
that's a big deal for San Francisco that
Yes.
he won't be able to go.
Yep, and it's going to take some time to get into form. So he probably won't be at full strength until week 8 or week 9, which makes Pearsall an intriguing target. Because aside from him, the only really other receiver we can count on is Juwan Jennings. I mean, if I had to make a call right now, I think the 49ers are going to be a last place team again.
Oh. And of course, you got to remember Deebo Samuel's now in Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the line here.
I just want to pull up the depth chart here with the 49ers before we go back to your picks. You got Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and then after that it's Demarcus Robinson. So
so Pearsall is definitely worth drafting, and I wouldn't mind starting him depending on who they're playing. Oh yeah, I wouldn't object to starting him in your flex position. But for right now, he's more useful for your bench. And then let's see, my tight ends. Looks like Flynn and I are in agreement on Evan Ingram, basically for the reasons that you said earlier. I mean, his position is pretty high. The Broncos actually look pretty good again. They'll probably make the postseason once again. Now on here, we kind of went on opposite ends here. I'm actually a little bit higher on Tucker Kraft. I mean, I'm not saying that he's a must start or anything, but he's pretty much good for your bench. The Packers are an interesting team. I mean, I'm not really excited about their wide receivers that much. So I could see Kraft getting a pretty good bulk of the work.
Interesting.
I just think with Tucker Kraft, I think in order for him to be to be reliable, he's gonna have to score touchdowns. But now with Matthew Gold for him to get an adequate red zone targets. I mean, he had a good amount last year, and he was fine. So I think he had 7 touchdowns last year. But I just don't think with where he's ranked, I don't know if he's a top 12 tight end this year. Yes, and if you're wondering about the 49ers, the schedule for the first 5 weeks. At Seattle versus New Orleans versus Arizona versus Jacksonville at the Rams. So it's a pretty favorable wide receiver schedule for Ricky Pearsall. In case you're wondering about that,
I could see the 49ers winning at least 3 of those 5 games. At least 3.
Yeah, so. I think San Francisco should be fine because the 49ers have one of the easiest schedules in the league, so that's something to note.
Yeah. Okay,
right, so unveil our questions.
Sure.
I couldn't come up with one this week.
All right, so what's Natalie's question?
Yeah, I have one, but it's very generic. It might be easy though. We'll see. Let's see. I was kind of curious on playoff droughts, so mine is going to be focused on this. Which team has the most consecutive seasons of not making the playoffs, and how many years was it?
So let's put a time for our time range on that. So what does the where to start? To start like the 40s or the 70s or
Okay, well, yeah, let's start if it's gonna be in the 40s.
so
We'll
start
start
with the
there.
40s and then we'll go onward. All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now my trivia question is actually kind of simple. So who is the first wide receiver to win Super Bowl MVP? So so
Hmm.
so that so that should be hopefully an easy one.
First wide receiver to win Super Bowl MVP.
Ooh.
I think I got that one. I think I may have that one. I'm not sure I got the tallies, but I think I got
Mm-hmm.
Vince.
All right, so now it's because Tim's turn for his.
Yep. Time for my list here, starting with my sleepers. I'm kind of in the same boat, going with Drake May. Like I said earlier, the Patriots will probably do a little bit better than what a lot of people think they'll do this year. Uh, and this is not just because I'm a homer. You can call me a homer if you want to, but I think Dak's numbers could go up just a little bit. I'm just still concerned with the Tyler line. That's what I call the offensive line here because three of those guys are named Tyler. So we'll just see what happens there. My running backs, I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to be kind of a bounce back year for him. A little bit down last year, but I think Isaiah Pacheco will probably get some runs here since Rasheed Rice is probably going to get that suspension, so they may give Isaiah Pacheco some touches on the offensive drives. Tyrone Tracy Jr., he had a pretty darn good rookie season, and I'm thinking that he could do just a little bit better. That's what I'm kind of looking at right there. Wide receivers, I'm going with Khalil Shakir with the Buffalo Bills as one of my sleepers. Um, Now that Josh Allen's got his contract, he's got a good weapon right there. He did all right last year. 43rd ranked wide receiver in fantasy. I think he may finish just a little bit above that, if not too much. Now, for my wide receiver sleepers, I was torn between two teammates. I put Darnell Mooney as one of my sleepers, but if I had to pick a 2B, I would go with Drake London. Because I think those two guys in Atlanta are pretty good tandem for wide receivers in the ATL down there.
Yeah, but I think for this exercise, I think you had to put in Mooney because he's not the number one wide receiver at the moment for Atlanta. It's
Right.
Drake London, so that's why, bro, you had to put Mooney in there.
Yeah, I'll put Mooney in back there. He is a worthy backup wide receiver to Drake London right there. I'm gonna agree. Brenton Strange, I'm putting him as a sleeper. Um, right now he's going into the season ranked 20th among the tight ends. I could probably see him finishing a little bit over that, and he could be a good player on your bench if your star tight end goes on the bench. I think you can put in Brenton Strange for about a week or two. And I'm gonna go Jake Ferguson. He's right now ranked 12th among the tight ends in fantasy. He's pretty good. He gets the job done when he needs to. Uh, since of course you got CeeDee Lamb, and of course we got our new acquisition George Pickens from the Steelers. So defenses may give them a little bit of a headaches, which means that Dak could get some passes to Jake Ferguson. So those are my sleepers going into this year.
I'm actually. I mean, if we look at Jake Ferguson's if we look at Jake Ferguson's past, let me so let me pull up Jake Ferguson's rankings from the past here, because I mean it's just so that we can make sense of what we're all talking about, because it's like in the PPR setting. Last year he finished 25th, but the year before, when the Cowboys were the 2 seed, he played all 17 games. He finished as the number 9 tight end. So there's no question that upside is still there.
Right.
And if the Cowboys are going to have to score 30 points to get themselves a chance to win, that they probably need to throw the ball to Jake Ferguson 6-7 times, 6-7 times a game. Which last year, so they targeted Jake Ferguson 7 or more times in 3, 4, 5. That's 6 times in the 14 games he played. And the last one was 9 targets and 6 receptions in a game again in the Week 16 Sunday night game against the Buccaneers, a game the Cowboys won.
Right. So I'm pretty feeling good with Jake as one of my sleepers in the tight end position. Now we go to my bus. First of all, I got Sam Darnold. First year in Seattle. I think he may have a rough start in his first year out there. I'm not going to make anything big of it. Baker Mayfield, it's going to be kind of a surprise here. I maybe see him maybe backsliding. Maybe he's at 7 right now as far as fantasy quarterbacks. I think he'll probably slide down to maybe 15, but not too much further than that. I can see a slight bit of a down year for him, because I'm kind of thinking that the real star will probably be Bucky Irving. They're awesome young running back that they have there. I'm kind of leaning toward him a little bit here. Speaking of running backs, I've got Kyron Williams. Let's see here. He's he's got Blake Corum and Jacquez Hunter behind him. Position 12. That's almost in the middle. I see him maybe sliding a little bit. Alvin Kamara, he's kind of getting up there a little bit. His numbers have been kind of going down a little bit over the last few years, and that's kind of gives me a little bit of cause to pause right there. Tyreek Hill, going to my wide receivers, Tyreek Hill. I don't know if he still wants to be in Miami anymore. He's at position 40 right now. 30th player overall in fantasy.
14 among wide receivers.
Yeah, 14 among the wide receivers there. Yes. So, and I got an interesting one. Puka Nacua. It looks like, well, they have Devontae Adams and Tutu Atwell along with Tyler Higbee. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe they may be taking some targets away from Nacua, going to Atwell or Adams right there. And he's ranked number 5 among the wide receivers. I see a little bit of a slide right there. I agree. For my tight ends, I agree with Natalia on Travis Kelce. He's kind of numbers been slightly going down, not too fast, not a sharp drop. It's kind of a slow, gradual drop that's going on here. I mean, he's still a very good tight end, but I can see his targets going down a little bit. And George Kittle is at 3 right now. I'm seeing like a slight dip right there with his targets right there. So but of course I could be wrong about Kittle. Maybe he may surprise me. I don't know. But
Well, I mean, I could not disagree with you more about Kittle. It is a bold prediction. Let's make no mistake. It's a bold prediction, but man, with all the all of the injuries surrounding the 49ers, and I just think Kittle, when he's healthy, he's gonna be the go-to for Brock Purdy in that offense. So like that, and Kittle's one of the best tight ends, and I think he's gonna have, I'd say, a great season. If anything, he's probably being undervalued in drafts. So that his number of 35, if it's a 12-team league, suggests that he's going towards the end of the third round. I could see him being having the value of someone who goes early in the third round. If anything.
Now we're going to go on to my breakouts here. I was kind of a little bit of a kind of a bit confused with the breakouts and maybe the stud players that I had. Of course, the studs, the big stars right there. But Flynn mentioned breakouts. I'm like, let me do some research on some breakouts. And my breakouts for quarterbacks, I see Justin Fields having a good year with the Jets. A new system, working with a new head coach. I think that offense will be pretty good. Right now, he's positioned at 12 among fantasy quarterbacks. Um, don't I will not quite sell those Jets short. I mean, they may surprise a lot of people. They may not. They'll be interesting to watch. Caleb Williams had a decent rookie year. I see a little bit of an increase this year, along with the other player that you see down in the lower right hand side. I will mention him in a moment. Uh, I think Caleb Williams, along with Loveland and Odunze, could make a pretty good passing tandem for the Bears here. Maybe a strong third place finish. I either see maybe Chicago or Minnesota maybe finishing second behind Green Bay. I think Green Bay has the slight edge, and but it'll be interesting about Detroit though. I'm going with Ashton Janty. I'm not afraid to take this guy as a rookie running back. I mean, he showed some flashy moves in college. He's done quite well so far in the preseason for the Raiders. So I'm going to give him benefit of going probably into the top 5. Right now, he's outside at number 6 right now. I think he could have an awesome season. I'm going to agree with, I think Flynn had Omarion Hampton as his breakout, as one of his breakouts, and I think I'm going to agree with that. Of course, with the Najee Harris situation going on there, I think I think Hampton will get a lot of touches, getting the ball and fixing the run game in Los Angeles there. My breakout wide receiver is Xavier Worthy, my man from Texas. As we mentioned earlier, the Rashee Rice situation. If he gets suspended, Worthy probably gets a lot more targets. He's right now ranked 27th among fantasy wide receivers. I could probably see him finishing in the top 20, maybe even in the top 15. And Terrell McMillan for the Panthers. I can see a bit of an upside for him as this young rookie gets into the league here, and I think Carolina will have an interesting season in an uninteresting division. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's really any flashes. I mean, not flashy, but there's got to be a little bit of some substance in that division right there, and I think McMillan can make a difference there with the passing game in Carolina. And for my tight ends, I'm going to agree with the tally with Tucker Kraft for Green Bay. Right now, he's at position 10. I think he could, if he can make the right connections from Jordan Love, I think they can make things happen there in Green Bay. And we're going to Colson Loveland. As I said, the connection with Caleb Williams and with Rome Odunze, they could make a great receiving force with the Chicago Bears in that NFC North. So those are my breakouts.
Alrighty.
All right. So let's answer our trivia questions here. So I think let's start with the tallies.
All right, I guess we'll do mine. Let's see. All right, well, I mean, the answer to this one is technically a tie, so I'll take one of two answers.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most consecutive seasons missing the playoffs. Give me the team and the number of years.
I'm gonna because I think the Steelers were terrible before the merger, so I'm gonna go with the Steelers, and I'll just guess like 30.
Okay. All right, Tim, what do you think?
Well, you gotta think about the Patriots of the '70s and the late '80s, or the early part of the '80s,
Mhm.
before they went into Super Bowl 20 against the Bears that year.
Mhm.
So I say I think about 15 years for the New England Patriots, but that's just a guess, give or
All
take
right,
a year or
let's
two.
see. All right, and okay, yeah, my screen only shows up to five spots here, so let's see. Unfortunately, the Patriots weren't on listed on here at all. Oh, Flynn, you're actually super close. The Steelers were third with 24 consecutive seasons from
Ooh.
1948 to 1971.
Mm-hmm.
The team with 25, one of them, I was going to say the one that doesn't exist anymore, Chicago/St. Louis Cardinals, 25.
They're now the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
true.
still exist.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Arizona Cardinals. That's right. From 1949 to 1973. And the other team we were looking for, well, Redskins/Commanders. It was also 25 from 1946 to 1970. But Flynn,
Wow.
you were actually super close. You gave me the second longest route.
I mean, yeah, I mean, technically the third because 25 that's first and second like the same like time for first.
True.
Yeah.
All right, and then my question, a simple one. I just want you to name the first wide receiver ever to win Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. Tim had something right away, so I'll let him go first on this one. I have a name in mind, but
Well, he came from the great teams. When you talk about Super Bowl, of course, Super Bowl started in the late '60s, go through '70s. And I got this one guy in mind, but I would not be surprised if it's his teammate. But the first name that came to my mind, John Stallworth.
oh, okay, that's not who I was thinking of. My guess is gonna be Lynn Swan.
His teammate.
Oh,
So we're sticking with we're sticking with the Steelers theme here.
Hmm.
So
I believe so. So Natalie says Swan. I say Stallworth.
yes,
well, why just both be wrong? And it's a totally different Super Bowl.
So we're in the right track. We're in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and in that dynasty, one receiver won Super Bowl MVP, and that was with 4 catches at 161 yards and a touchdown in Super Bowl 10. The correct answer is Lynn Swan.
Oh, cool. Alrighty.
It was Lynn Swan, the Baryshnikov of the gridiron.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think Tim was thinking about about the Super Bowl, the other Super Bowl against Dallas, where Stallworth had like a 28-yard touchdown reception and a 75-yard touchdown reception, but Terry Bradshaw threw for 318 yards and 4 touchdowns. At the time, they both were the most in Super Bowl history at that point in time.
Right.
So they gave the MVP to Bradshaw, but in that game, Stallworth finished with three catches, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And in that same game, Lynn Swan 7 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown Swan caught put the Steelers in front 35-17 in the fourth quarter, and that proved to be the difference. As they held off the furious comeback by the Cowboys in the fourth quarter of that game.
Yeah. So yeah, I knew it was going to be either Lynn Swan or John Stallworth. So my first guess was Stallworth, but Natalie had it was Lynn Swan. So all right, well, I guess with that we have come to the close of another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. But as always, as you see down at the bottom here, be sure to listen to Hooked on Sports with John Flynn over on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, anywhere you find your podcasts. Flynn did mention that he was going to change up his schedule for like his NFL podcasts.
Yeah, some more details coming on that pretty soon. So,
all right, so y'all be keeping in tune with that here. And of course, as you all know, our Fantasy League draft's coming up on Friday night, the 29th, 9:15 Eastern, 8:15 Central is when we'll start, and the draft actually starts 15 minutes after. So it's going to be a big night. And the return of the Pain and Game Pick'em Show with Alex, Lucas, and yours truly. The season premiere of that show will be Thursday, August 27th. August 27th, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. There's a channel right there, youtube.com/apizzle90. So, our next show will be next Friday night. Last season's lessons and this season's strategies. We're going to kind of take what we learned from last year, and we'll see how we can apply it going into this year, which kind of makes perfect sense to me.
So yeah, I mean, it's because that's going to be when the preseason winds down, and since a lot of people are drafting in the last week in August, that is what important to give you a sense as to what we would do in such situations. So.
All right, so that will be our show coming up next Friday. So, hope we will see y'all next Friday night. As you can see from my little thing, 19 days away from the start of the NFL season. I'm getting excited. I know these guys are getting excited, and I hope you guys are too. So. So that's going to do it for this edition of Fantasy Football Fever. Thanks to my boys Sean Flynn and John Natali for always working with me on this. I think there's a couple of preseason games for week 2 of preseason tomorrow. Yeah. And you got next week is the third and final preseason. Then we take a week off before the season starts up. So that's going to do our show. Thank y'all for watching. For John Flynn, for John Natali, I'm Tim McClellan. Thanks for watching us. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the week ahead. God bless you all. And as always, be a good sport.